All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday night training. I'm going to put a little spotlight here on me. So welcome, everybody. Good evening for you. Good morning for me over here in the Philippines. Good to see everybody. So before we get started here today, obviously super excited about a lot of the great things that happen out of our RTE as we're heading into our next events here coming up, which we're going to talk a little bit about. But I am hoping, praying, fingers crossed, everyone do this, say a little prayer with little fingers crossed that my internet is going to hold. I am kind of in the middle of nowhere right now, actually at a beautiful Airbnb in the jungle. And one of the signs out here that says, don't feed the monkeys. So, I mean, just you don't hear that every day. So you don't see that every day on every don't please remove your shoes and don't feed the monkeys, as there's signs kind of everywhere here. I am actually here. We have basically all of our family in town. My wife's mom and her dad are here. And we got a chance to visit a beautiful island last week called El Nido. Today, we are actually up in a place called Subic. And some of you might be familiar. There's a big military, or used to be a big military base here, and was actually part like the 7th Fleet. It was a big military area, a place called Clark as well, that a lot of people are familiar with over here in the area. And so we are exploring a little bit here today from where Daphne's father actually used to work back in the day over here, which is actually how we ended up in the Philippines meeting my mother-in-law. So, but I'm also here with my dad, his wife. So, and I'm kind of escaped into kind of a back room in this Airbnb here so I could be with you guys here for a little bit. And a few things that I wanted to go over with you guys. But before I do, I figured, you know what? Why don't I share with you just a little bit of how beautiful the Philippines is, because we're in the process of creating our own escapes over here. Obviously, we want to get even more getaways over here, because if you have never visited this beautiful country with these amazing, beautiful people, I want to encourage you to put it on your list of places to make sure that is on your bucket list. So anyway, this is just a quick shot from my drone that I took from our little boat tour in El Nido. Some of you might have seen it online, but before we get started here with today's training, just want to get a chance to give you a little preview as to what you guys can experience when you come over here to the Philippines as we create some incredible escape programs for you guys. Anybody want to come join me next time? So it's a pretty darn cool place. So if you haven't been, make sure you put it on your list. And I think I got one more little clip that I was finalizing editing. I haven't posted this one yet, so you guys are actually the first to see this on my trip from diving. If you haven't gone, I love scuba diving. I just love being in this kind of like new world, tranquil world, and so I didn't get a chance to get a lot of good footage. But I did get one piece of footage that I think you guys will find funny. So here's a little bit from a little scuba diving trip, and then we'll get started with our training here. So, oh, did I? Hang on a sec. Did I do this properly? Did I do? I don't think I did. Yeah, there we go. Yep, perfect. So there you go. I found Nemo, in case you were wondering where he was. That's it. But I also got a selfie with a turtle. What is up? Come on. Come on. That's pretty good. You got to admit, that's pretty damn good, right? And so my thing is he's giving me like the stank eye. He's like, can you like seriously leave me alone with your damn sign? So anyway, I thought it was good. Uh, here we go, and let's rock and roll. So getting into our content here for today, if you have not got a chance to see, we got some great stuff that happened from our last regional event. So let me pop in here, get this PowerPoint going, and get into our subject, which is a meaty one here today. If you haven't been on our team website, teamsynergyagents.com, we always have as much of the updated information as we can on there about the events, hotels, bookings, RTEs, all that stuff. We're going to be updating the website, obviously, with the next set of it, but also is our secret inner circle. So you're going to be seeing more and more programs as we are adding to this. This is our monthly, really kind of mentorship program where we're going to be delivering you content and the replays of our last events. There's incredible training on there, inner circle conversations that we put together, but there's also some major perks when it comes to the events for those that are inside of our inner circle. So I want to make sure that you're there. Now, for those of you guys that were at our last RTEs, let's drop some hearts, give some drops. It was incredible. I had saw the pictures, saw the feedback from it. I was a little sad that I couldn't be with you guys, but in lieu of me not being able to be with you guys at this RTE from being on the other side of the world, I'm going to have my own RTE. So I'm going to have a June 8th Philippines RTE because I'm sad that I wasn't able to be at an RTE. So, and which is, for those of you guys that don't know, RTE stands for Regional Training Event. And the next regional training events are going to be coming on June 8th. So we basically got here for the month of April and May into June. So about 2 months to build into this next event and then building into the next one. Now, if you get a chance, we've got Atlanta, Bloomington, Canton, Charleston, Chicago. We've got basically the same locations and potentially many more that are going to be coming up on the horizon here. So if you have not purchased your tickets for this event, so you want to make sure you can get there and building it, because as we build from event to event, from small event to big event. Now, all of the June event is leading into our Grand Poobah event, which is the July 19th through the 21st in St. Louis, Missouri. We have a new promotional video that we put out that we debuted at the regional event with our 3 guest trainers that are going to be coming on here. And at the end of today's training, I will play that for you guys. If you haven't seen it, that way you can see it. You can also get it from the team website. You'll be able to get it inside of our groups. We'll put it in the WhatsApp group so you can download it and share it with your fellow agents so that they know how important this event is going to be. Now, Freedom Academy, I love the name, and part of it is because the idea of freedom. It's it's around that July summer, and the idea of going, okay, how do you earn your freedom, especially when it comes to your finances? So because a lot of people I feel like are really shackled to something that they don't enjoy, that they don't love, that they don't feel this sense of breathing room or sense of freedom, where they are kind of locked up by the decisions that somebody else or something else or Bank of America is making for them. And we want people to experience what that looks like. And in order to get their freedom, through our residual based programs here with our squared bonuses. And that is, you're going to be learning from the best of the best of the best at this event. So we want to make sure you get there. Now, a big thing that was launched and talked about over the weekend was our secret health plan. So this is incredible for our club secret members. So secrethealth.com, there's great details on this and basically getting guys set up on this. I know they went over this at the RTEs, and there's going to be much more. Now, as any new program is rolling out, what's always interesting is people are contacting me and they're going like, how does this work? I'm like, I don't know. I'm hearing about it just like you. So we're going to be figuring it out and learning these programs together. What I'm so excited is the continual value. Now, the amazing part about the program is the kickback that they're getting, which is basically for those that are subscribing through the program, is almost like getting your membership nearly for free if you take a look at it that way. Especially through this. Now, so this is where we're going. We've got our RTEs heading into our July event. But what I want to talk about is right now, something really practical for us and for you in terms of what it is that's going to really move the needle or get the ticker up inside of your business which is building your business. Now, like our secret's going to go into momentum and what's happening right now. And for those of you guys that have been hearing the rumbling behind the scenes, very exciting stuff. All right. So, but they say that when the tide comes in, all boats rise with the tide, which is true. But you got to have a boat in the water. Like if you're on the shoreline, doesn't mean that your tide rise. Meaning, just because a company goes into a momentum or a market goes into momentum doesn't necessarily mean that you do, right? We want you to pick up on this momentum, and how you're going to do that is a very simple process here, which is through an exposure system. So I want to talk about this, but one of the most important things and one of the words that people absolutely hate inside of our industry, which is the F word. Right. So, and by the F word, I mean follow up. I know it's just not the sexiest of things. However, it is the most profitable of things. And it's the thing that I want to talk about here today, because as I'm in communication with people and understanding, okay, if you really want a life filled with freedom, okay, inside of your business, freedom comes from follow up. So these are your F words that today I want us to really be focusing on, because in order for you to go out there and get the freedom that we're looking for, we need to go out there and sponsor an organization, right? Now, what is the size of the organization? Well, I was taught many years ago when I got started in learning how a binary system works, is that your number one focus is 2020 vision. Now, what's 2020 vision? 2020 vision is 20 agents on your left, 20 agents on your right, 20 agents on your left, 20 agents on your right. So 2020 vision, that makes sense to me. Okay, so let's do some math on that. That's a total of 40 enrollments. So if I've got to enroll 40 people into this and take a look at it, how many people do I got to talk to? Well, I got to know my ratio. So in knowing my ratio, how many people do I need to expose to this information in order to find the people that are interested? See, our business is very simple. Easy, I would not say easy. Simple, I would say, right? And the reason why is we get caught up on a lot of the things in the process. So let's talk a little bit about our exposures. So I was taught 3 important rules in my network marketing career 22 years ago that are as true today as they were when I first heard them, when I first started as a 19-year-old little bebe. All right. So rule number 1, exposure is everything. Exposure. You've got to get people to take a look at the information to going from not knowing to knowing, right? So the question, but I'm not going to focus on exposures today. I'm going to talk a little bit about them, because if you're not doing exposures, I can't teach you follow-ups. I think that's seems like a common thing, right? So number 1 is exposure is everything. So we need people to go from I don't know to I'm thinking about it. And this is a very important process, okay? From someone going, I don't know, to maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, right? Now, step number 1 is exposure is everything. Number 2 is fortune is in the follow-up. And then number 3, and you can write this down, is work with the willing. Work with the willing. These were 3 rules that I was taught from 7-figure income earners when they first got started in this profession, when they were teaching me, hey, listen here, young whippersnapper, if you want to be successful, these are like unbreakable rules. So exposure is everything. Like if you aren't exposing people to your club, if you aren't exposing people to our membership, if you aren't exposing people to this opportunity, if you're not showing the plan, how could you possibly expect? Guys, you've got to remember. So we are the marketing arm of the company, right? So that's why it's called network marketing. The company spends $0 on paid ads and advertisements and marketing because they put all of the money in the compensation plan for us to go be the marketers. So that's our job, is to go out there and market for the company. I mean, provide exposures to go show them. That's where all the budget goes. Almost half of the money that comes into Secret goes directly out into a commission structure for us to go out there and build our business. So exposure is everything. I'm not going to spend a lot of time there, but I think it makes sense to you guys where we got to go show people. Now, they're showing people we know, showing people we don't know, cold market, warm market. There's lukewarm market. There's people you meet in person. There's people you're going to meet online. There's social media marketing, all these different ways. And today's subject's not going to be on that. It's going to be more so on the follow-up. And here's the reason. I find it, for the most part, people are genuinely usually more excited about introducing a new person than constantly following up with somebody that hasn't said yes or no. This is one of the things that is usually a little bit challenging for people. And what I mean by that is that kind of felt like this is like there was this excitement kind of in introducing somebody new, right? Someone being like, hey, I want you to check this out. But then once they said maybe or kind of, or let me think about it, or I'm not quite sure, or I need to talk to my spouse, or all the different like maybes. How many of you guys know there's a lot of different maybe I'm joining conversations that are out there, right? So, and this happens very consistently across the board, right? In fact, the majority of people are not going to be joining after their first presentation or exposure. It's not going to happen. Now, in the beginning, I thought, because I was a relatively easy recruit, and what I mean by a pretty easy recruit is you could have recruited me with a fishing pole. Like you'd have been like, get over here, like I'm in. Like look, do you want to be successful? Yes, sign me up. I mean, I didn't want to be broke, and I was somebody that I'm open to taking risks. I had an entrepreneurial spirit. I would have probably tried anything, So if I thought it was going to work, and even if I thought it would maybe work, even if I thought there was like a small chance of it working, I was the type of person that probably would have been like, well, why not? Let's give it a shot. Like, even if it didn't work, I'll learn something from it. That's the way that I kind of was my mentality, even as a kid. So, but not a lot of people operate that way. So most people are looking at what they have to lose versus what they have to gain. And so because of that, we have to help people through this process. So follow-ups, why are follow-ups so important? And I saw this statistic many, many, many years ago, and it really blew my mind. Okay? Now, if you haven't seen this yet, it is that 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. What does that mean? That means they said, hey, I want you to check out some information, take a look at this. They sent them some information, never followed up on it. That's wild. That's almost half. They say 25% of salespeople make a sec contact and stop. 12% of salespeople make only 3 contacts and stop. And only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Now, below that are the stats that they read when it comes to sales. So, which is 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% are made on the third, 10% are made on the fourth, and 80% are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So what does that mean? That means if you're not following up with somebody at least 5 times, it means you're leaving 80% of your money on the table. Oof. I remember hearing this for the first time and going like, that's not good. So at least, and for me, and part of it was this is because, and I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm pushy. I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring people. I don't want to feel like I'm being that annoying person. And the answer is you don't have to be if you follow up properly. Right now, so if you're not one of those obnoxious people out there that doesn't understand no's or doesn't understand when somebody is not uninterested. Now, there is a little bit of push here. So when it comes to this, and I want to share with you things that I've done that have helped me with this. Now, I'm not an overly aggressive person. It's not in my nature. It's not in my personality, but I am darn persistent. So if you're like me and maybe you feel like, well, I'm not that aggressive. Okay, don't be aggressive, be persistent. Right. So, and people say, well, don't worry about being pushy, worry about being poor. Right. So we're not here to convince. I'm not here to beg, but I am here to follow up. And because I knew this statistic, And I knew that I needed to contact somebody at least 5 times before I could really kind of scratch them off of my list, or at least 5 follow-ups. I had to create a system around this. And so I want to teach you the follow-up system that I use to go from 0 to 6 figures in my 4th year in network marketing when I was a 23-year-old kid, right? So now, and what that system was. Now, today you can use it in any different fashion. You could use it on your phone, you could use it through Rapid Funnel, or you can go super old school like like I did when I originally have helped when I originally had the system. Now, I didn't make the system up. I might have tweaked it and adjusted and maybe Jesseized it slightly. But it worked so well for me. And I know that it will work for you because you must find a way to systemize your follow-up process. And the reason why is you're busy. So I know you're busy with life, you're busy with kids, you're busy with school, you're busy with career, you're busy with your hobbies, you're busy with your faith, and you're also busy in secret. But here's the thing, I don't want you to be busy, I want you to be productive. And there's a difference in our industry, and especially in network marketing, from people that are busy versus people that are earning an income. And if you're not earning an income, it's because we're not getting enough people to the finish line. And by not getting people to the finish line, I heard a baseball reference that was very relevant towards this subject, which is stopping at third base adds no more to the score than striking out. And I was like, ooh, right? And what I meant by that is that if you only follow up 1 time, 2 times, I want you to think about like getting stuck on second base and you're not getting home, meaning you're not getting the cash register to ring. You're not getting to that 2020 vision. Why? Because we're leaving so much of it on the table. So when people tell me network marketing is hard, or people tell me that network marketing, it takes too much time, or no one's interested, or I'm not getting the results that I want. If I point back to it, it's usually one of the first 2 things. It's either you're not doing it enough, meaning I'm not exposing enough people, or you're not doing it long enough, meaning you're not following up with people long enough. And this is the area that I could say there are so many 6-figure income earners, 7-figure potential income earners that have quit this business simply because of this one skill set that they just didn't learn, didn't want to do, didn't find a system for. So, and because they were exposing, and what they were looking for is diamonds in the rough, or trying to get lucky, or they were looking for those people that were now people. And although they are out there, and we look at our business like sorting. So many of you guys have been in the business. If you've been in for more than a month, you've been in for more than a year, you're not new anymore. Like, so like my daughter just turned 1, right, last week, and she's walking. Like, when I mean walking, like she is walking. Like I mean, she is like all over the place, right? So now here's the thing: is if she all of a sudden went back to crawling, how many of you guys think that'd be weird? Like it would be a little like, what? Like what? You were walking. Like you kind of got you got the thing down. Like you've graduated from the crawling. Now, are there times that she's crawling? Yeah, but for the most part, what is she doing? She's walking and she's excited about walking, right? So we're not going backwards here, we're going forward, which means there's a skill set that's producing every single year. If you've been inside of Secret for a year, then you can't use the, well, I'm a toddler or I'm an infant anymore. You're not. All right. The skill set should be improving. Now, how do the skill sets improve? By doing the action, by doing the activity. So here's a follow-up system that I used for years that helped me as to when to follow up, how often to follow up, what to say when I follow up, and how do I track my follow-ups. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys a incredibly hilarious video that if I filmed probably 15 years ago. Do not laugh. So at it. But this is my some of my original work. I'm just telling you guys. And I'm gonna show it to you guys. Look at this child. Do you guys see this child? Look at him. Oh my God. What is on my chin? I'm trying to grow a goatee because I'm trying not to look 12. So which is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, I called it
Less than a little bit of
Fort Knox in a box,
now.
right?
Go goes to
So, and this is hilarious. Okay. Now, what you guys will notice in here is It is an index card system. And I'm going to teach it to you guys how I did it, but you can use it through Rapid Funnel. It works the exact same way, which is actually part of the reason why the guy who built Rapid Funnel is a buddy of mine from 22 years ago, who implemented this system. Now, you don't have to go look for this. If you do want to get onto YouTube and find it, it is Jesse Macpherson. If you put in Jesse Macpherson Fort Knox or follow-ups, you'll probably find it. But I just dropped the link into the chat box. Oh no, I just dropped it to you, Shar. So let me drop it to everybody. So there is the link into the chat box for those of you guys that would like it. So you guys can go watch the video. I'm going to give you a little bit of the rundown of it and then show you how you can use this, whether you're using a digital format or using this. So all I did was this. Every person that I was introducing to my business, I was getting into the exposure process, got an index card. Very simple. And all I did was I wrote on the index card their name and their phone number on the top. So now if this is somebody I met, I would write some information about them. Like I met them at the coffee shop or I met them somewhere if they were a cold exposure. If I met them through social media, which back then we didn't have, I would have wrote that down there. Facebook or Instagram, I would have wrote that down. So I'm taking a little bit of notes. Now, here's the reason why. If you've been doing Secret for a while and you're going out there exposing people, and you're capturing numbers or business cards or whatever it is, and like, how many of you guys are like, you forget? And as I get older, I'm forgetting more and more shit, right? So I don't know if it's just you or if it's just, that's what they say. So where all of a sudden you'll look at like a business card or look at something and be like, who's John? Right? Like you don't remember like who the person is, and you're like, what did I show them? Did I show them something? Did I give them a video? Did we follow up? When was it? Like that's what is going to happen naturally. The more and more people you're exposing to your program, and the more and more that you're exposing to the information. So what I would do is I would just write it down. Now, every time there was an interaction with this contact, John, I would write down the interaction. So today's date would be like April 17th. Okay. So on April 17th, let's say I met them and I sent them the link that I would say sent link, right? And that's all. I just write it down. Now, I had little abbreviations for my own purposes that I did. And then I would now start following up John. Now, what was the box? So here's the box. It was a very simple system where you would go down to the index card. By the way, guys, I would when we would do our weekly events or weekly trainings and our RTEs or Super Saturdays, whatever you want to call them, I went to the dollar store and I would buy these sets of boxes and then I would use the system and it worked so freaking well. Okay. So okay. Now, here's the thing. You can buy this on Amazon for like $3. You're just going to buy an index card box, buy index cards. And then the only other thing that I had in there was the months of the year and the days of the week. So write this down. Months of the year, days of the week. Pretty simple, right? So now what you would have is at the front of your box would be today's date, which would mean it would be April 17th. Then what you would do is tomorrow when you wake up on April 18th, you would take the 18th and move it to May 18th. Then the next day you would wake up and it would be April 19th. You would move the 19th to May 19th. So what you're doing is every day you're moving your one day forward. So I want you to think about kind of like your box, like a rolling 30 days. So in other words, every day there's 30 more days out in front of you, and then it's the months. So hopefully that's a visual. If you can't just watch the YouTube video, it makes more sense. Index cards, months of the year, days of the week. So what would happen is I would open up the box and see who do I need to follow with today. Okay. And I want you to write this down. Set it and forget it. Write this down. Set it and forget it. This is one of those things that get overwhelming. If you're doing lots of exposures, what ends up happening, if you're trying to remember it all, you will not. You will not remember everything. You won't remember all the information. You won't remember it. But if you want to be an expert, look, if you want to be a professional, you need to learn how to become a professional follow-up. Okay. So now in this, okay, you don't have to be obviously a professional in English, in case you were wondering, to make $1 million. But what we're doing here is creating a system, a systemized process for follow-ups that can make it almost either fun or simple. Now, the reason the index cards for me was because I was taught to sort. So I was thinking about index cards, like a deck of cards, where I'm sorting through this deck. So what I would do is I would follow up with today's dates. Now, let's say I met Anthony today, for an example. I'm just going to use Anthony. And Anthony, I've got my index card for Anthony. And Anthony said, yeah, follow up with me on Friday. Now today's the 17th. Well, it's actually the 16th for you guys. This is a little confusing. All right. So, all right. But let's say Anthony says, follow up with me on Friday. So what do? I put Anthony's card on April 19th. Are you guys with me so far? Good. Give me a thumbs up. Yes. Okay. So I put him on April 19th. Perfect. What was that? There's little sparklies over me. Oh, Zoom has these weird gestures and I don't know what they are yet. So every time one pops up, I'm always like, what's going on? All right. So April 19th. So now I've said it, I forget it. I don't think about Anthony anymore. I don't think about the when I need to call Anthony. I don't even remember Anthony until when? Friday. Why? Because on Friday, what do? I open up my box on Friday morning, and then I look at today's date, April 19th, and who do I need to follow up with today? That's it. I'm not thinking about the 200 people. So, because I was taught if you want to be a successful recruiter, you want to have 100 people in play at all times. 100 people in play, meaning people between saying yes and saying no. There's going to be people out there that are going to be maybes for a long time, kind of, sort of. What do you do with these people? You must have a system of follow up with these people to get to that fifth, seventh, eighth exposure, but without it being something where you are going to get so aggravated that these people drive you nuts, because that's what happened to me for a long period of time. So on Friday, right, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to take a look at Anthony. So now I've got Anthony. Now I'm going to call Anthony. Now the likelihood is this, is statistically, is Anthony going to answer the phone the first follow-up phone call that I call him? And the answer is what? No. In fact, when I was training follow-up systems, I would say even back in the day, I would say 80% of the time you were going to get a voicemail. Today, 90%, 95% of the time, you're probably going to get a voicemail. So voicemails aren't bad. Okay. I want you guys to know this. All right. Now, here's a couple of things in the follow-up system. Okay. I'm going to teach you the system and then I'm going to teach you what I do during these follow-ups. Number one is if Anthony doesn't doesn't answer, I am going to leave a message. Okay. Now, please write this in your notes. Okay. Be the most positive voicemail he's ever gotten. One of the things I found is this, is that when I was leaving messages for people, I'm creating a relationship with that person. Now, even if they don't call me back, if they listen to the voice message, do I want no, it is generally speaking, if you're feeling an immense amount of guilt, usually it's not something that is the most exciting thing to follow up with somebody or call somebody back when they're saying, hey, what's wrong with you? You know, that feeling of like, hey, you missed my call. Why didn't you answer? Right. So and because a lot of these people, again, like I am trying to get them to go, look, they're thinking, is this a person I want to work with? Do I like this person that is in communication with me? Remember, they're also thinking this is the person, if I end up joining them, is the person that might be contacting my friends, right? So, or the person I'm going to be introducing my friends to. So, what is my experience with this person? So, I'm going to leave that voicemail, and it's going to be short and sweet. So, Anthony, and it's going to be super simple. So, Anthony, hey, listen, it's Jess. Hey, sorry I missed you. I know we had a scheduled time to talk here. Obviously, I don't know if this is a good time for you still. Let me know if there's a better time. Looking forward to connecting with you. Talk to you soon. Bye. It's really that simple. So I'm just leaving a positive voicemail. Now, today, I would say leaving a voice note is going to be more important than leaving a voicemail, right? Because why? No one's listening to voicemails statistically. So voice note. All right. Now, so if I call Anthony, Anthony doesn't pick up. Now, I'm going to teach you the system and I'm going to teach you what I do. Okay. Number one is double the days until he answers. Double the days. It's a very simple system. So I called Anthony on the 19th. Okay. So Anthony doesn't pick up. So what do? I'm going to put Anthony and double the days. I'm going to put him in 2 more days. So I'm going to put Anthony in the 21st of April. Now, on the 21st of April, if I call up Anthony and Anthony doesn't answer, what am I going to do? Double the days. I'm going to put him 4 days later. So I'm going to put him into April 25th. Is that right? Yeah, April 25th. Now, April 25th, I call up Anthony. Now, remember, once I put Anthony's card on April 25th, guess what? I said it, I forget it. I don't think about Anthony anymore. Anthony's not in my head. I can go off and be on my date night. I can go to my kid's soccer practice. I don't have to think about Anthony anymore because I have a system to follow up with everybody. Because if you're trying to remember 100, 200 contacts at all times, it's impossible. But I want you to think about this. If you only have 3 people every day to follow up with, it's really simple. And 3 people a day to follow up with over the course of 30 days is 100 in a month. You can have 100 people in play, but really only 3 people to call a day. That's why when people say, is it really possible to have 200 people in play, 400 people in play? Of course it is. As long as you separate it and have a system behind it. You've got to systematize. I'm telling you. Okay. So double the days, double the days. So 25th, I pick up the phone, I call Anthony, he doesn't answer. I'm going to double the days again. So I'm going to go about a week out. Now, you don't have, it's not an exact science, just so you guys know. So I'm going to go a week out. Now, after a week out, I call him, I'm going to go 2 weeks. A week, he doesn't answer in 2 weeks. I'm going to go a month. He doesn't answer in a month. I'm going to go 2 months. He doesn't answer in 2 months. I'm going to put him in 4 months. He doesn't answer in 4 months, put him in 8 months. Now, if I do that properly, that allows me to follow up with somebody up to 8 times within a year without it feeling weird or awkward or the times feel thing. If you follow up with somebody every day, they're going to go like, what the heck? A good example is this. There's a woman who is here in the Philippines. Okay. And bless her heart. Um, she's a sweetheart. She's a young girl. She's just out of college. I actually was interviewing her to be my executive assistant here in the Philippines, right? So, and through this, what ended up happening was she ended up, I didn't hire her. She looks like she got into real estate, right? So on real estate, so she's now selling some properties. Now I'm not interested in buying the real estate that she's interested in because it's like a long-term investment thing. But she said, I said, yeah, send me over the information, right? So maybe I can come take a look at the properties. So she followed up with me on Thursday. So this is Thursday. You guys can't see. So let me actually get rid of my background here. Hold on a sec so you guys can see. Choose virtual background. None. Oh, this looks like a cool background. So you guys want to see the trees? So anyway, here's a little outdoor area, and there's a little thing, and there's trees over there, and oh, my wife and baby are sleeping over there. But anyway, you guys can see there's a little hammock over there. So okay, here we go. So anyway, so here's my phone, right? So here's Samantha. And so Friday, she messages me. So this is Thursday message for Thursday call, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, multiple messages a day. And she hit me up not just on my phone, she hit me up on Facebook as well. So this is too much. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm not mad at the girl because I'm in the business of marketing. So like, but here's the thing. I would rather you be this girl than not follow up at all. I would. Because here's the thing. Promise you, she's going to get sales. She's going to get sales if she's this consistent, right? Now, most of us don't want to be this person. I'm just letting you guys know. Most of us don't want to be in the other end of this person. So, but what we want, here's more. So now here's the thing. I haven't responded on purpose because I'm curious how long she's going to hit me up every single day before she quits. So on the follow-up, I'm going to recruit her, by the way. So I just, I gotta have a little bit more time. So double the days. So if I'm doubling the days, I'm constantly getting the next person, the next exposure in. Now, what do? Here's the difference between this is I would leave an audio message and I would switch between audio message, text message, audio message, text message, audio message, text message, audio message, text message. This is what I would do through each of the processes. Now, every time I'm going to be genuinely, so I'm going to be one of the most positive voice notes or text, just following up and following through. Okay. Now, here's what I would probably do towards I did this on what I called the fourth phone call. Now, the fourth call is now I might even change it to the fifth after the statistic, but you could do it on the fourth or fifth. On the fourth or fifth follow up, I would always leave what I would consider the a little bit more of a kind of a takeaway message. So write this down, takeaway message. So from a takeaway message from this system was a very simple thing. And I would do this only with cold market. I don't do takeaway messages with friends and relatives. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why am I doing it? So okay, I would do a different type of message. But from cold market, let's say I meet Anthony and I met Anthony at whatever, the coffee shop, so he was my waiter or whatever it was. Say, hey, Anthony, if you guys remember my cold market training where I talked about, hey, are you open to an opportunity? All right, if you're open, And I leave a message, or I call Anthony, no answer. 2 days later, 4 days later, 1 week later, now I'm on like about a month out and Anthony hasn't responded. So here's the takeaway message that I would leave for Anthony. I say, hey, Anthony, listen, I left you a few messages over the course of this last week. I'm sure you must be busy with life and everything. So, but hey, when we met, you didn't seem like the type of person who wouldn't return a phone call. This works incredibly well. So, hey, when we met, you didn't seem like the type of person that wouldn't return a phone call. Honestly, if it's not for you, I totally understand. Just let me know. Honestly, if you're uninterested, just please let me know. Because I don't want to waste your time or mine. Because otherwise, I'm going to keep following up with you. It's very positive, but it's a little bit like it's like a little jab, like it's a baby jab. Right. So once again, I this is how I would say it. Hey, Anthony, listen. So I followed up with you a few times trying to get in contact with you based on what we met. Listen, I don't know. I guess I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused because when we met, you didn't seem like the type of person who wouldn't return a phone call. I hope everything is okay. Hope everything is okay. Because I'd love for you to see what we're doing. If it's for you, great. If it's not, no big deal. Because I just I don't want to waste your time or waste mine. Because otherwise, I'm just going to keep following up with you until I get you. And that's it. And what I'll find is that the majority of the time, that's when I get the phone call back. Was from that message. Oh, I've just been busy. I've just been whatever. Now, this is very important to understand, guys. So here's what we think the majority of times. We think people are not interested. It's not that they're not interested. They're busy. They're busy. Like, honestly, as much as this girl that has been messaging me, so like, I'm not interested in buying this piece of real estate that she's offering. I am interested in seeing the building because I'm curious. I'm curious about it, right? So, like, here's what's interesting. She's messaged me. Now, here's what most people would think. I'm not interested in real estate or buying a piece of property. I am technically probably, and I'm a good candidate for it, right? So I'm a quality prospect for her. And it's just I'm busy, I'm traveling, I'm on vacation. So the majority of the time, it's a good example. If somebody calls you right now, what are they going to get? A voicemail. If somebody calls you, like, well, I mean, I hope you don't pick up while you're on this training. Bad idea, right? So, but if you are you're with your kids, you're at the soccer practice, you're at work, you're whatever, you're watching your favorite show. I mean, you think about it today, most people don't pick up calls hardly at all. In fact, when somebody calls you, you're like, why are they calling me? This is weird. Text me. That I heard somebody say the best time to call me is text me. Which there's a lot of truth in that. That's where people are at today. So you got to remember, a lot of times people are busy. So until somebody tells you, hey, I'm uninterested in this, I'm going to follow up with the assumption that they're just busy. And I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to be a burden to them. I'm not going to be a nuisance to them. I'm not going to be overly aggressive and crazy and be like, well, how come you haven't called me back? I called you 6 times. That's weird, right? Because remember, I want them to go, I want to do business with this person. Here's the thing that you'll find. Some of the people that will actually do business with you, the reason why is because they need somebody that's persistent, or they will appreciate the fact that you're persistent. Wow, this person's serious. I can tell you that right now, this girl who's following up with me this many times, yeah, she's consistent. She's persistent. I love it. So, okay. And you can be persistent and nice. You don't have to be overly aggressive. Now, you can be aggressive if you want. Some of you guys are more aggressive. That's your nature. That's your personality. Great. I'm just sharing with you guys things that I've done. So let's talk about the system a little bit more and talk about a few things that I do that really work. Every person gets a contact. Now, there's only two places I would do this. I would do it in my box, or you can do it right in your Rapid Funnel app. Now, why can you do it in your Rapid Funnel app? Because every time, every person has their own contact. So every card has their own contact, and you can write notes for each person inside of their contact, and you can save it. So when I would write notes, didn't answer, not interested, follow up later, I would write the notes to this person, here's the things to remember. Let's say Anthony, we were there. He said, oh, and he said something nice about Phoenix, right? Because we were at a restaurant. He was my waiter. He says, oh, I have a daughter too. Oh, what's your daughter's name? Oh, my daughter's name is Samantha. Really awesome. Guess what I'm going to write on my index card? Daughter's name Samantha. So when I follow up with Anthony, I can ask him, hey, how's Samantha? And he's going to go, this guy remembered my daughter's name. I did not. I said it and forgot it. if you can have a system where you can set it and forget it, I'm telling you. Now, I have funny stories. I had a guy, it took me 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive it was 7 years. So it was a guy out of Oklahoma. And it was back when I was doing like cold leads. I was just calling cold leads. I was just calling, just like blazing the phone. I was doing like 100 calls a day, just trying to find people that were interested. And I got this guy, and he told me he didn't have the money. How many of you guys have had those people? Like, I don't, oh, I'm interested, but I don't got the money. Right. So, and this happens all the time. So what do? I say, okay, great. So when do you think you could come up with the money? So what was his name? I'm gonna call him Mark. I don't remember his name. He was a sweet man. So he was a mechanic. So out of Oklahoma. I was in California, and he had this pretty thick Oklahoma accent, so and I'll never forget. I called him. I was like, "Yeah, this looks very good, very good." And I was like, "So, you ready to get started?" And he was like, "Nah, just I don't got the money." And I was like, all right, Mark. Well, when do you think you're gonna have the money?" I was like, "I don't know, but I might have it soon." And I was like, "Okay, great. How about I give you a call in a couple weeks?" He was like, "Absolutely." So I called him in a couple weeks. He was super sweet, and I was like, "Hey, Mark, you got the money?" "No, I ain't got the money yet." So I was like, "Well, when do you think you're gonna have it?" And he was like, "I don't know, maybe about a month." I followed up with this guy for 7 years. And it was just because it was so much fun for me, because I would call him and I wouldn't even ask him if he had the money anymore. I would call him about every 6 months. So, and I would call him and I was like, "Hey, Mark, it's Jess." He's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, how's the business? Business is doing great." He's like, "Man, I'm proud of you." He was like, he's like, "Man, you're really persistent with this thing." So, and all this eventually, like, I swear to God, it was like 7 years later, I called him because what I would do is I would put him in my box, like at the end of the box. So when the year ran out, it was like a special call for me to call up Mark. I just remember. So it was almost fun. And then finally I called him one day. I was like, "Guess what?" He's like, "I got the money." All right. And I was like, "No way, you got the money." And then he signed up and he didn't do anything. But yeah, hey, it was fun. But through this process, here's the thing that it gamified follow-ups for me. I want you to write this down as this is for me, I can't if you want to make something that is not the most pleasant thing in the world and you got to get yourself to do it consistently, for me, I had to gamify it. So, how do I make something into a game or a system that is something almost like enjoyable for me to do? So, we talk about sorting through the deck. So, I was like, okay, great. These cards were kind of like sorting through the deck. Now, obviously, the technology that we use today is fantastic, but personally, so try this on. Go old school for a bit. See how it works for you, right? So just start a new box here today. And here's the goal is to get at least 100 people, get 100 cards filled out that you've shown 100 people some information. Now, some of them are going to say yes, some are going to say no. Most are not going to say yes right away. But my goal was this is I had to get to the 5th to 10th contact. Now, here's what's crazy. I kept all of my boxes, okay, of my index cards that I had on my way to 6 figures. Now, I didn't have all of them in the first probably year, but after my first year in network marketing, I started doing this system. And so for 3 years, I was doing this system. And when I was doing this system, I kept all the cards. So when somebody said, "No, I'm not interested," or "It's not for me," I would take them out of my box and I put them in the no box. Okay. So the only people that are in my box are people that are in play. So my goal was to put 2 cards in the box every day and take 2 cards out of the box every day. Now, how was I taking cards out of the box? I wasn't taking cards out of the box when somebody didn't answer. They were just going further in the future, right? Now, after my 5th or 6th contact, I took them out of the box and I had 2 different boxes. I had a no answer box and I had a no box, meaning they said they finally they talked to me. They're, "Hey, it's not for me." Okay, cool. Right. So and then I had a never answered box, which was a pretty consistent box. And if I got like bored one day and I didn't have anybody to follow up with that day, I would go to my no answer box and I would call people from like a year ago. "Hey, this is just listen, I know it's been a long shot. We talked like 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember me. Has anything changed in your life? Are you still open to an opportunity today? Or?" And what's weird is this: the people that were multiple years ago were the ones that picked up the most often, which was strange. So I don't know if you remember me. Now, here's what's crazy. I remembered them not because my brain remembered, because I wrote it on the card. Met at Jamba Juice. So, hey, I remember we met at that Jamba Juice from like a long time ago. So anyway, I like, or if I was talking to others, like, "Oh, your daughter, So she's like 3 years old now. You know what I mean? Like you remember, you write that stuff down. So through this process of exposing people, putting people in the box, taking people out of the box, putting people in the box, and then just rotating the box, I double the days on the follow-ups, leave a voicemail, be the most positive voicemail that I possibly could. After about the fourth or fifth voicemail, I'm going to do a little bit of a takeaway, right? So a little bit of jabby jab. And letting them know. And the last thing that I would do in this um, is what I would do is with somebody I would do know. If somebody I do know is not answering or following up with somebody, I take it away from them. So when I talk to them, I say, listen, I don't care if this is for you or not. Call me back, so because I'm not interested in whether or not this is for you or not. I much rather have a relationship with you. So I'm not trying to close you. I'm not trying to like any of that kind of stuff. Just if it's not for you, just tell me. I give them an out. So because I would rather have the relationship than have somebody that feels like I'm over pushing. So now through the conversation, when I'm looking for the people that are there, the last kind of pieces of advice that I would give you on this is all these are people that you're going to be following up with that are kind of maybes. So here's a couple of questions that help me get to more yeses. I'm saying, so listen, so it sounds like you're interested, so on a scale of 1 to 10, this is what I love asking. On a scale of 1 to 10, one being totally uninterested, 10 being let's rock and roll, I'm ready to get started today. One being totally uninterested, 10 being I'm ready to get started, let's rock and roll. Where would you find yourself on that? I'm like a 7. I'm like a 6. Okay, cool. What would it take to get you to a 10? It's a good question. What would it take to get you to a 10? So what would you need to see? What would you need to hear? What would it take to get you to a 10? So in other words, what's holding you back from getting started? So, well, this or this or this or this or whatever, 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 right? So, and then now what we're doing is we're problem solving slightly. So they were like, well, it's just a money thing, or whatever it is. And I say, okay, so if it was the money thing getting started, how long would it take you to come up with that if you had to? Okay. Do you have any other solutions for you to be able to figure that out? Now we're just kind of coming up with solutions for that issue to get them from a 7 to a 10. Okay. Or they're like, I just don't know. I don't know this. I don't know that. I don't know this. I don't know that. I say, well, perfect. That your job is not to know those things. My job is to know those things. So let me teach you those things. So let's get you started. Let's get you started. I'll teach you these things so we can get you going. So now, what a lot of times I like to paint for people is best case, worst case scenario. So let's say I'm talking to Arthur and he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, listen, well, Arthur, let me walk you this. When I'm looking to make a decision, I look at what's the best case, worst case scenario, right? I mean, that's a good way to think about it. So if you can paint, well, what's best case scenario? So best case scenario, let's think about it. Arthur, you get started and you build a business and you start this thing part-time because that's all you got right now. And through your schedule, you end up making a little bit and you find some good people and we get this thing to snowball for you. And all of a sudden you have a business that's paying you residually more than you're currently making right now. And you got your freedom back. That's pretty good, right? I mean, think about it. Write this down. Think about it. Write this in your notes, paint them into the picture. Paint them into the picture. What I want to do is paint them into a picture of where they want to go, right? Because that's what I would be doing when they joined, is going, where do we want to go? Because I can't help you get somewhere you can't see. So what do you want to create in your life? Paint them into the picture. Best case scenario. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now let's go to worst case scenario. Okay, so worst case scenario, Arthur, this happens. Now, I will like to paint worst case scenario as like really bad and also kind of make it funny, just because that way it doesn't seem as bad because most people haven't thought this through really. Okay, worst case scenario, Arthur, you sign up and it doesn't work. And you lost, let's say you bought our package, $500, right? So, and you're out $500. Okay, worst case scenario, no one's interested. In fact, not only no one's interested, they hate it, right? So they hate it. They hate the products. They hate the idea of travel. So in fact, how like let's say you call 10 people and all of them say, never call me again about this. Right. So that's better. Actually, no, let's say it's worse than that. Let's say you join and then all of a sudden I never call you back. Right. Like you get no support. Right. Now, of course, I kind of laugh at this, right? So, but because I'm trying to paint them as like worst case scenario, right? Okay, so worst case scenario, it doesn't work for you. You sign up nobody, right? Worst case scenario, you sign up nobody. Okay, well, if you use the products, you're gonna look better. And you go on a getaway, you went on vacation. I still think you won. So like that's worst case scenario, are there? So best case scenario, you get your freedom. Worst case scenario, you look better and you get to go on vacation and you didn't make any money, but you got some good value from joining our program. And if you don't want to continue doing it, you don't have to. There's no like you're not signing up. I'm not asking you to get married to Secret. Just like let's start dating. Let's see if you like it. If you like it, you can continue. Now, for me, I'm married, right? So, right, I got this ring for the love of my life, and I got this ring, the life that I love, which is my 7-figure ring that I'm not wearing right now because I'm on vacation. But you guys get the point, right? So now I'm not asking you. So these are some things that you can ask somebody to make a decision based around pushing them off of the fence. So when somebody's on the fence, now here's the thing that you can do genuinely. If you are genuinely interested in that person's success, if they feel that they're just a commission check, if they feel that they're just another point for you in the system, if they feel like they're just, then you're not going to get the same level of results that I got. So now for me, this system worked wonders. If I was to say the single thing that separated me as a young kid to earning 6 figures in network marketing and never earning less than that since 2006 was because I had a system that was designed around follow up. Well, this system allowed me to recruit 2 to 4 people every single month consistently for decades. So how did I do it? It is very simple. I would put people in the box, and then it was like a game. Who's going in the box? Who's coming out of the box? Who's going in the box? Who's coming out of the box? Who's going in the box? Who's coming out of the box? And I wasn't so attached to it anymore because I just knew that every day I had hundreds of people in my box but I wasn't following up with hundreds of people. Guys, I want you to think about this. Could you follow up with 5 people a day? Yeah, you could follow up with 5 people a day. Now, if you were following up with 5 people a day, right? So following up with 5 people a day, and there were 5 different people you were following up with a day, that means at 5 people a day times 30 days a month, you're talking about 150 people you're in communication with. Now, if that's just a rotating 150 people, meaning like the ones that say no go out and new ones go in, and ones that say no go out and new ones go in, you're going to be sponsoring. Like I promise you, you're going to be finding people that are out there that are interested in what it is that you have. So this allowed me to stop convincing and truly be sorting. The problem that most people have with sorting is this: they're sorting through the same deck. No, you already went through that deck. Got to get a new deck. So we need a new deck of cards. So every day I was thinking about putting cards in and then following up, following up, following up. Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. And if I made that game where every day I woke up, and then it was almost kind of cool because I would forget about people that I put in because a month later, and then all of a sudden I would get to the month of a good example, like I have to put someone 2 months out because then they were like, oh, call me later. I'll be ready in the summer. These are my favorite ones. I don't know, maybe around summer. So I say perfect. Summer would be like July. What do you think? Right. So July. They say, yeah, July would be great. So guess what I do? I put them in my box in July. I totally forgot about Anthony. And then in July, when I get to the month of July, I see Anthony. It's almost cool. I'm like, oh, I get to call Anthony again and check on Anthony. See how Anthony's doing. Because remember, I'm not trying to close somebody. I'm trying to I'm building a relationship with a potential business partner that is somebody that I can not only work with, improve the quality of their life, but be a true partner for them. So this is a simple process, okay, that I can tell you we can continually do. So whether you're going to use an old school index card box, you can literally buy all 3 of those items on Amazon for less than $10. Okay. So and have a follow-up system, or you're going to use rapid funnel. Okay. I don't care what it is, but you must have a follow-up system. Many of you, if you're thinking about it, is if you're struggling to consistently sponsor or you're struggling to consistently enroll customers, or you feel like the business is overwhelming, or you feel like it's too much, or you can't keep up with everything, it's because of a lack of a system and a lack of planning. And the only reason I know that is that was me. I was wildly overwhelmed for a long period of time with this process of how do these people seem to that are recruiting consistently, how do they seem to have the time when they've got more obligations than I have, even as a kid? And how do they keep track of all this stuff? So systematize, systematize, systematize. And if you do this, I know you're going to have some heaps of rewards. So it's April 16th for you guys, April 17th for me. We're halfway through April. So this is the time to start tracking your numbers, your squared numbers of where you're going to be by the end of this month and supporting the people in doing that. So, all right, it has been an hour. I've been with you guys here today. As promised, we will close out today. If you have not seen this video, I do want to share it with you guys, which is the video for promoting our Freedom Academy event that is coming up. If you've already seen it, you're more than welcome to log off. If you haven't, please stay and watch, and you can find the downloads for it because I will be seeing all of you at Freedom Academy in July. Justin Mack signing off from somewhere in the Philippines. Bye for now.
Good Life Trainings presents Freedom Academy 2024. This life-changing event will be taking place in St. Louis, Missouri, the weekend of July 19th through the 21st. And let me tell you, you are not prepared for the amazing announcements, recognition, promotions, and training that is going to happen this weekend. Do not miss. This event will be featuring so many of our international trainers, seven-figure million-dollar earners, as well as some guest trainers. And today, we're excited to introduce you to your first three of our guest trainers, starting off with none other than 100 Squared Diamond Agent, Mr. Jonathan Gooch.
Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Gooch and I am from Lafayette, Tennessee. I'm so excited to be there with you at Freedom Academy. And let me tell you a little bit about what happened to me. 16 years ago, I had two restaurants. I pastored a church. My life was different. The economy crashed. It took my restaurants under, and the church told me they didn't want me anymore. I had to do something, and I always say by the grace of God, network marketing was there. And I picked it up and shared an idea, and it changed my life forever. And now we have a way to show people how to feel good, look good, and experience the world. And we're doing that on a daily basis. We do one-on-ones and two-on-ones. We do video calls. We do face-to-face travel parties or launch events. We do all of that. And we're going to teach you how to do the same thing at this event. So come on and see us at Freedom Academy, and I will see you in St. Louis.
Our next two trainers are actually an incredible dynamic duo, and the first of which is none other than 250 Squared Blue Diamond Agent, Michelle Mamba Taylor.
What's up, you guys? This is Michelle Taylor here, and I'm super excited to be seeing you guys out at Freedom Academy. A little bit about me, y'all. I'm from White Plains, New York. My background, I have a bachelor's and master's in social work. So I never seen or done anything like this before, but guess what? I stumbled into something that was happening, and I was just at the right place at the right time. But I wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't because of the system. This system, y'all, and that system is going to be taking place at Freedom Academy. We're going to be teaching you guys the how-tos, what to do, okay? How to look good, how to feel good, how to go out there and experience the world, and how to share this with your friends and family members all over the world so they can be a part of our community. So guess what, y'all? Make sure that you're in the building, but not just you. Make sure that you bring other people with you because you do not want to miss what's going to take place and go down in history. So guess where I'll see you? Yes, I will see you in St. Louis. Let's get it, y'all.
And last but not least, her other half, 250 Squared Blue Diamond Agent, Mr. Roscoe Taylor.
Hey guys, what's happening? My name is Roscoe Taylor, and I am so excited to come spend some time with you at Freedom Academy. Guys, listen, I'm a counselor by trade. I used to work with battered women, at-risk youth, troubled teens, vulnerable adults. Love what I did. But that type of trauma and heartache to make less than 30 grand a year. It's unbelievable. And then giving my kids what I had left in the tank every day is not something I was excited about doing for the rest of my life. And I plugged into an event like Freedom Academy. I plugged into a community of people who weren't only winning at the highest level, but they were passionate about showing other people who are willing to participate in their own rescue how to win at the highest level too. And that's exactly what happened to me. And I went from living in Chicago to sunny Tampa, Florida. And I couldn't be more excited to watch you grow and evolve in your life too. So guys, listen, I will be at Freedom Academy in St. Louis in July, and I can't wait to meet you there. I will see you in St. Louis.
Get your tickets today. Here's what you have to look forward to. On top of our Freedom Academy, July 18th, Thursday, we will be featuring our Trainers Academy for our 25 squared gold and above agents. You do not want to miss this, so get promoted and square up before St. Louis. On Friday, we will be featuring our breakouts and an incredible Friday fun day with big announcements to come. We are also going to be throwing the biggest tiki party you've ever seen in the history of St. Louis with our Inner Circle Sand in St. Louis party. This event is going to be one you're not going to want to miss. And the training you will receive over the course of the weekend with the announcements and promotions as we come united to define what freedom means to all of us and creating a wealthy global community that serves the world. See you in St. Louis.
That's it, guys. So we will see you in St. Louis. Huh? Look at you. You got like one little hair thing up here. So say hi, bye. 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 See you in St. Louis. I know. Who are all these people? What are they doing? Yeah. She just woke up from her nap. So, okay. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.